at 9 in the morning. A woman calls 911 and says her 8-year-old daughter is missing from their hotel room. She insists the door was locked with the latch. She says her child has never run away before. She says there is no way she could have just walked out. Police immediately launch a search. 9 units, helicopters, officers checking every single room, but there is nothing. No trace, no cameras showing the girl leaving. As the hours pass, the story starts to fall apart. The statements don't line up. The surveillance footage doesn't back up a single word. And then the medical examiner's report comes in. The girl had actually died 2 days before the call was made. This is no longer a search for a missing child. This is now a homicide investigation. Detectives uncover video footage showing the child being beaten over and over again. They find search history, records a rented van, and a route leading out of the city. And then the mother changes her story. She says she knows where the body is, a wooded area several dozen kilometers away. Police head out to the location and they find her wrapped in trash bags, partially buried her body, showing multiple fractures. And at that point, it becomes clear she was never missing. She had been in that room the entire time alive, only up to a certain moment, and the final hours of her life were captured on video. Alright guys, let me grab your attention for just a second. I'm really curious where you're all watching from, so I'd love it if you could drop your city and what time it is for you right now in the comments. Thanks for sticking with me, go! Go ahead and write it down below and I'll keep going. 8-year-old Nicole Amari Hall lived in Gwinnett County, Georgia. She always preferred to go by her middle name Amari, and her grandmother described her as a child with the brightest smile and an incredible sense of joy. They loved cooking, together playing dress-up, and the kitchen was her favorite place. She absolutely adored her younger brother and sister, and was always so gentle and caring with them. Amari lived with her brother Jakari and her 6-year-old sister Zaya along with their mother, 27-year-old Brittany and Brittany's girlfriend, 29-year-old Celeste Owens. Brittany and Celeste had been together for several years, and had recently moved into the extended stay hotel, Hometown Studios, where they had been living for about 3 months, and the children were being homeschooled. On Sunday at 9 in the morning, a 911 call comes in from Brittany Hall. She says Amari is missing. The last time she saw her was at the hotel, sometime between midnight and 1 in the morning. She says she locked the hotel room door with the latch, but when she woke up, the door was slightly open and Amari was gone. Before calling 911, Brittany says she searched the entire building. The 27-year-old tells the dispatcher that Amari has autism needs daily medication and has never left on her own before. But she's still holding on to hope because her daughter is very smart. She keeps saying she's really, really intelligent, that despite her autism, she understands what's going on. Around her, she's very observant. Brittany also explains that they don't have any family nearby, so there's nowhere Amari could have gone unless someone took her when the dispatcher asks if Amari has ever run away before Brittany. Says no, but admits they've been dealing with some behavioral challenges lately, so she doesn't completely rule it out. She also tells them that if Amari did leave the room, she probably wouldn't have closed the door behind her, because the latch makes noise, and it would have woken everyone up.
Right now, the desperate search continues to find 8-year-old Nicole Amari Hall, who vanished from this Hometown Studio hotel here in Peachtree Corners. Investigators say she's been missing since early Sunday morning. Amari's family tells us the 8-year-old is autistic and in need of daily medication, adding to the urgency of the search.
I woke up yesterday morning and my daughter wasn't here. The door's cracked. I went outside. I went to go around the whole place. I went twice. I did not see her. I called 911.
Brittany's girlfriend, Celeste, said she couldn't help. She explained that she had been out meeting with her sister, and that night they were with their grandmother. She said she got back around 4 in the morning and went straight to bed, but then woke up to Brittany screaming that Amari was gone, and just 3 hours after Amari was reported missing, her description and details were already everywhere across local media. 8 years old, African American, about 4 feet 10 inches tall, weighing around 80 pounds. She was last seen wearing a blue jacket with Tweety Bird on it, along with a blue and white pajama set. She was also wearing glasses and rainbow sneakers that would light up when she walked. The search started in Brittany and Celeste's room, but quickly expanded to every single room in the hotel. Not long after that, K9 units arrived on scene, and helicopters began sweeping the area, covering a much wider range beyond the building. Meanwhile, nearby buildings and businesses were turning over their surveillance footage, and every available resource was focused on finding the 8-year-old girl, after several hours of what had already become a large-scale operation at 4:30 in the afternoon. Gwinnett police said they had no significant leads, and at the same time saw no signs of an abduction. They also noted that Hall had only recently moved to the area, so she didn't have many friends or relatives she could have gone to. Officers were canvassing the area, searching wooded sections, checking local businesses, trying to figure out where she could have gone wherever she was. They said they were confident that with the public's help, along with police and available resources, they would be able to find her and give the family answers. At the 24-hour mark, detectives brought in the homicide unit.
The reason we're asking you all these questions and we're trying to get specific every detail, it's not because we're like, ooh, what's Celeste doing? No, it's because we're trying to figure out at some point this child has gone missing,
right.
And the best way for us to figure that out, even if it seems doesn't make sense, like why are they asking this? What's this have to do with that? We want to know every specific detail for every moment
right.
that you went through in the last like 72 hours.
Yeah.
We can put everything together and we can figure out, okay, so where's the 8-year-old? What's going on? But in order for us to build this crazy picture to be able to try to figure that out, we got to know everything. How did the kids know you? Like, did they call you Celeste? Did they call you mom number 2? Like, what?
Dad.
They call you dad? Okay. And what time was that when you got back yesterday?
I was around, I want to say, because I came back before she went to the store, and when she came back, I left. And then I got back around, I want to say 4-ish, close to 5-ish, I'm not sure.
So when you got back from Grandma's house, you said that was 5 p.m.?
No, 8 a.m.
5 a.m. Now, when you get back around 4 or 5, did you notice that the kids were in their bed? Or?
I didn't, well, it's like, I didn't think to notice that she would go.
So you just wanted to go to bed, you weren't really like checking to see if they were there or not, you just assumed they were.
Yeah.
And was Brittany was home when you did that? When you got in? Okay.
I was asleep, and
Okay.
that's when Brittany woke me up and said, babe, you know, we gotta find it, and I'm like, what happened, what's going on? And then that's when she went outside and started looking.
When was the last time you actually saw Nicole Saturday?
The last time I saw her was before I left, before Brittany came back, and before I left, that was the last time I
So Brittany gets back from BP, as you're leaving with your sister, you do see Nicole, you see her there, you know she's there.
When I got back from the store, I didn't know for sure. But before she left the store, she was there. But when I got back early that morning, I didn't look to see her.
No, okay, so before you left with your sister.
That was the last time I saw her.
So when you were leaving to go with your sister to Grandma's house, that's when you saw her there?
She never even if she wants to go outside, she'll always ask. Both of us. She don't just ask one parent, she'll ask both of us.
Do you know where Nicole is?
No, I don't.
No. Did you take Nicole from home?
I did not take Nicole from
Did anything happen to Nicole within the last 24 hours that you're aware of that caused her any type of injury?
No.
No. Is Nicole alive that you're aware of?
That I'm aware of, yes.
Is she dead that you're aware of?
No.
No. Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that she would not be okay? Other
Well,
than the
any
fact
kid
that
that's wandering out, I assume the worst.
Okay. Do you know anything about her whereabouts?
No, I said the same thing we've been saying 20 times today.
We're going to step out for a second. We're going to go talk to Brittany for a little bit, and then we'll get back to you, okay?
All right.
Okay.
Celeste said she believed Amari may have run out of the hotel, but that someone could have seen her and taken her.
And with all that saying, what do you think happened with Nicole?
I'm going to tell you from my personal experience. 2 years ago when I got back with Brittany, because we were together before she had kids, and then we separated, and then we came back together. My one-on-one relationship with her was, she was a sweet child, but the only thing was her behavioral problem.
So what do you think happened last night?
What I think? I think Maury probably got super mad, like it could be 1,000 reasons. I really don't know what goes through. I'm not the mother.
Okay.
So I really don't know what goes through this girl's mind. I'm still learning her and still getting her to accept, me, because she does realize it was just her and her mom. Now I came into the picture, so I don't know if it's probably was different for her. Like, who is this person, and trying to understand.
Does she try to get into it with you when she gets upset?
No, she just tells me leave me alone.
Okay.
I'm like, I'll leave me alone, and then when she's done, probably an hour later, she'll probably come back and be like, I apologize, and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay.
So what do you think happened with her?
I really think she just, God forbid, but I really think that she just, of course, ran away, but I really think that, God forbid, somebody snatched her up.
We want to know where Nicole is. It's not a if we find Nicole.
I want to know where Nicole is.
It's a when we find Nicole. We're going to find her.
Yeah.
If it's within the next couple hours, within the next couple days, we're going to find her. Okay? It's just a matter of when. We know something happened. We know she's somewhere, and I think that you know where she is.
It's just how you
come. This is just what we got to do. We got to talk to everybody.
I've been in this predicament before when someone murdered my mother, and they didn't come at me like this. When they sat me down, they just let me write everything, and they just went off that. But I'm just being real with you. It's not how you come at me. I think you did this. I think you know. You just said it. I think you know where she is. And it's like, if you think I know, then what are you trying to get me to say?
At the 24-hour mark, detectives brought in the homicide unit.
Also breaking for you right now, the search continues for that missing 8-year-old girl in Gwinnett County who police say is in danger tonight. This is the second cold night that Amari Hall from Peachtree Corners has been away from her home, away from her mother. John Schierick is live for us tonight from outside the mother's extended stay hotel. John.
Gwinnett County Police have suspended their search for Amari until daybreak, although the investigation into her disappearance continues. Gwinnett County Police conducting a grid search of these woods between the hotel where Amari lives with her mother and Peachtree Industrial Boulevard.
We are working every lead and we are looking at every angle.
Gwinnett County Police Sergeant Jennifer Richter says the mother and Amari moved to the hotel a couple of months ago and have no relatives living nearby. Among the searchers, volunteers from Alpha Team Canine Search and Rescue. Amari wears eyeglasses and may be wearing rainbow light-up shoes. Gwinnett County Police are saying that it is more urgent by the hour that someone find her soon, and they're hoping everyone involved in this investigation is hoping that someone will spot her soon and call 911.
All right, John, hoping for a safe, quick recovery. Thank you so much.
Meanwhile, temperatures were dropping below freezing, making the search even more difficult. Sergeant Jennifer Richter with the county police said, "At this point, we are doing absolutely everything we can to get any kind of lead we will circle." Back to anyone we need to speak with again and question every single person. But given how much time has already passed, the situation is becoming critical. It's very concerning, but then everything changed very quickly. Investigators told the media that suspects in Amari's disappearance had already been taken into custody, and that they now believed they were no longer searching for a living child, but for her body. And soon after that, another shocking update came in.
For breaking, the mother of a missing child, arrested and charged. Brittany Nicole Hall is in the Gwinnett County Jail right now on multiple cruelty to children charges.
Investigators say they've gone room to room, enlisted the help of canines and a helicopter in their search. Still no Amari. They tell me they've combed through the surveillance video from the hotel and add they've found something concerning, but are unwilling to release those details at this time in order to protect the investigation. As police work to uncover the truth, neighbors here at the Hometown Studio Hotel remain baffled at how this young girl seemed to vanish in plain sight.
Nobody heard anything. Nobody heard anything, any commotion or anything.
Eventually, Brittany, unable to withstand the pressure from investigators, told a new version of events. She claimed that Celeste had killed her daughter and that she herself helped cover it up. And sadly, on the second day of the search, it was all over.
I'm deeply sad to report to you that at 10:45 this morning, the body of Amari Hall was discovered.
Brittany led investigators to the location, a wooded area near Stone Mountain Freeway in DeKalb County, where they found Amari naked, partially buried in dirt and leaves. She had been wrapped in 3 trash bags, tied with rope, but her small body was still visible through some of them. The site was about 15 miles from the hotel. Police Chief J.D. McClure said, "My heart goes out to Amari Hall's family. We worked this case tirelessly and put in every possible effort, but sadly, this is not the outcome we hoped for. Amari had multiple skull and rib fractures, significant blunt force injuries, cuts on her hands, a ruptured liver and internal bleeding. Something had struck her body with enough force to compress her liver against her spine. The medical examiner also noted that Amari weighed only 54 pounds, which is about 30 pounds less than expected for her age. The experts described it as battered child syndrome.
We compared statements that we had gotten from Brittany Hall and also her partner, Celeste Owens. We compared those statements with evidence that we gathered and recognized that those statements were indeed false. Our investigation transitioned from a missing person case to indeed a homicide case. Within the next several hours, we will charge Celeste Owens with felony murder in connection with the death of Amari Hall. Additionally, Brittany Hall will be charged with concealing the death of another. We will continue to also investigate her role in this murder.
Just a few hours after the search began, detectives started to realize that Brittany and Celeste's stories weren't lining up. It started with confusion about Celeste's whereabouts that morning.
So what was the first time Saturday that you left?
The first time I can't recall really the time.
Before lunch? Morning, afternoon, evening?
The first time I left, I went to the store. It was morning. Went to the store that day and then came back and then left again and then helped my sister out and then came back that morning before she went.
Now when you left again to help your sister out, what time was that?
Left again before. I couldn't really even tell you.
After lunch, before dinner, nighttime day. I mean, the sun goes down at 5 o'clock.
Before that, it had to be nighttime. Daylight wasn't there.
So when you went to go help your sister, it was already nighttime?
Going on night.
Going on night, so after 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Okay.
It turned out that Celeste had not actually been with her grandmother and sister that night like she claimed, when Amari supposedly disappeared, and investigators quickly learned that her family hadn't even seen her for several months, making it a lie that was easy to verify.
And then when you get back?
That's Saturday morning. I mean, you talking about Friday?
No, we're still on Saturday.
Still on Saturday.
So we left.
So Saturday morning I came back. Sorry, I'm just...
Okay, so let's just... Sorry, just breathe. Okay, so you hang out with Brittany all morning on Sunday. Mm-hmm. You go to the store, you come back, and then you leave again when it's kind of dark to go help your sister, and then you come back. When you get back...
Often. Sometimes I don't wake up, sometimes I just...
Well, I'm not talking about sometimes, I'm talking about just yesterday.
Just Saturday.
Just yesterday.
Came back around, let me give you the specific time. Mm-hmm. What times? I think the morning. I want to say, because I came back, it was evening, it was dark. I want to say 2 o'clock, because I was in, then came back.
Like 2 a.m.?
Came back, yeah, 2 p.m.
2 p.m.?
Mm-hmm. Because Saturday, sorry.
Okay, so let's start over. We're getting all over the place here.
Brittany told police that, before calling 911, she had spent a long time frantically searching the building and the parking lot, but not a single camera captured any of that. At the same time, there was no footage showing Amari running, out of the hotel, or leaving with anyone an 8-year-old girl, simply never walked out of that room alive.
So she wakes you up, she calls 911 as she's waking you up, you said, and then she goes outside and she went and checked the whole parking lot.
Checked the camera, I guarantee.
Okay, so that was one thing I wanted to touch on too. So we've checked several cameras. There's a camera for the hotel, there's the car wash across the street, there's a hibachi, there's another camera. We've checked all those cameras. We have people checking those cameras right now. They never saw her walking around that hotel.
Really? This morning?
Mm-hmm. Now, did you see her go walking around?
I only saw her go down the steps and go down the side, and by that time she's already on the phone with 911.
Now, another thing I do have to ask is on the side that is something else might have happened. Is there any reason something else might happen? Like maybe more got hurt and there's an accident and we're just afraid to talk about it, something like that?
Yeah, sometimes she is like that. You'll ask her what's wrong.
But I mean, I'm talking like last night. Did something happen to her to where she got hurt real bad, and we're coming up with this story to try to get away from that because we're worried that like when the police find out, they're going to think something else happened and we're going to get in trouble, like something like that.
Additional findings from the medical examiner showed that Amari had actually died 2 days before the 911 call, but it was one interview with her sister Zaya, who was covered in bruises that gave investigators the key to everything. 2 days before the body was found, Celeste told Zia that Amari had gone to a place she called the Bad Kids Hospital.
Is there any reason why Zaire would say Dad took her sister to the Back Row Hospital?
To the Back Row Hospital? Oh, she's saying that because when Maury would act out, I say, Maury, listen, if you can't listen to us, you're gonna go, can't say defects, can't say none of that stuff. I said, Maury, if you can't play with your sisters or you can't negotiate, you're gonna go to this place. And normally when we say that, Maury act right for at least 3 hours.
Why would Zaire say that she saw you take Nicole last night?
She saw me take, she didn't
Why
see
would
me
she say
take-
that you took her last night and that she's not coming back?
I didn't take her last night. I don't know why she would say that.
Okay, we've got a missing 8-year-old. If a 6-year-old says, hey, Mom's girlfriend took her, and I just brush that off, then I'm not doing a good job, okay? No, sir.
I wouldn't purposely take her out, then call you to say she's missing.
Okay, and like I just said, it's nothing against you, nothing that I have against you or anything.
Right.
We've got your phone, we've got your girlfriend's phone. We're getting into those phones. Whether you guys like it or not, we're getting search warrants. We're going through them. We're going to check location data. We're going to check text messages, whether they're deleted or not. We're going to check phone call records. We're checking camera systems for vehicles, vehicle tags, locations. We're going to talk to every single person you guys have even thought about talking to in the past 5-6 days.
Okay, so to go through your phone, you want us to just get a search warrant then? You don't mind if we just look through it real quick? It'd be way faster.
You have to have probable cause for a search warrant. I'm not a probable cause. I'd rather have a lawyer before you go through my phone.
Dozens of disturbing videos were found on Celeste's phone, showing both women repeatedly beating and abusing the children. Investigators also discovered her search history with queries like, what to do when a child won't listen, lakes nearby, how street drainage systems work, why children run away, how to report a missing person, and even access to a U-Haul customer account.
Okay, so I just want to talk to you away from her, separate me.
Yes. All I'm saying is, just to clear things, I am discombobulated. I cannot give you exact times. If you feel like I wanted the BP that time, run the camera back to the BP where you saw me with this hat. You don't approach people like that to try to get something out of someone because you think so. Then why would a little girl this? Why would a little girl? I'm telling you everything that's going on. And then when we come for help, you don't really get help. That's why a lot of people do things and just don't call the cops and handle it their own way because it can flip, just like what it did today, like my dad always told me. Anything can flip with cops. So it just pisses me off because I've been out all day. I've been answering you respectfully all morning. Respectfully all morning. Then I get here and I'm in the room that I've never been in before that I've seen on First 48 and being chastised with questions trying to make me, I think you did it. As soon as he said that, it broke me to the core. Because if I did it, I damn sure wouldn't be in that hotel. I would be going on the run. Because like I might as well take matters in my own hands or hire a private investigator. Like I wanted to do today. I said, babe, if they can't actively find today, when we get up on money, we're going to hire a private investigator to also help. Information I gave you, the information she gave you, when she woke up, she was not there. That's it. You can flip the bed. You guys check the bed 10 times. Go flip it again. We give you permission to go in there. If you guys asked us, but you guys kept coming in, which you know you gotta have warrant to come in anyway, but we opened the door and let you come in. So it's like, just have some respect for it. It's like, come on, we wouldn't be calling you for help if I would've just got away with it.
On November 19th, the day investigators believe Amari was killed, surveillance cameras captured Celeste renting a small U-Haul cargo van. By 8 in the evening, Celeste was already waiting for an Uber by tracking the van's route. Along with cell phone pings, investigators were able to locate Amari's body in DeKalb County, and within hours, the full picture started to come together. According to investigators, Brittany had previously talked about wanting to give Amari up for adoption, and even though Amari's grandmother Barbara had repeatedly asked to take in and raise all 3 children, Brittany refused. Neighbors said that while they hadn't noticed anything suspicious, they almost never saw the children outside the hotel room. Everything felt extremely isolated. Police believe it was Celeste who delivered the fatal blow to Amari's head. While Brittany helped cover up the crime, they placed her body in trash bags, and then Celeste used the U-Haul van to transport and dispose of it.
But the guy said as soon as we stepped out the door, you couldn't do that. So what stories are y'all giving me?
Search warrant for your phone. What do you mean we can't do that? Probable cause 51%.
We have probable cause all day.
I just want our phone. So
Well, I know, but you're not getting your phone. Well, you gotta stay seated.
for what?
Well, you're not allowed to leave.
How am I allowed to leave?
Well, I'm telling you, you're not allowed to leave.
Why am I being detained?
Yes, you are being detained.
How?
You're getting charged for law obstruction, giving false statements. You're not allowed to leave. So
I'm
you
getting
can sit
charged
down.
for false statements?
You can sit down. Or I
I'm
can have the
not being
officer.
detained.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, you are. So either you can sit down and relax.
So we're both being detained.
No, you are being detained.
I'm being detained
Yes,
because someone didn't see me. So now y'all want to know where
People
someone see
didn't
me.
see you. Multiple people that honestly are in your corner. You can't even say they're a biased witness because they're not helping you out.
Celeste was charged with first-degree murder, concealing a death, and 7 counts of child cruelty. Each charge reflecting a different aspect of what investigators say had been happening. Over an extended period of time, together they formed a complete and deeply disturbing picture of events where nothing appeared random, only a sequence of actions that ultimately led to a fatal outcome. Brittany was charged with child cruelty, concealing the death of another person, and filing a false report. Although at this stage, her charges seemed less severe than Celeste's, they still pointed to serious violations and clear attempts to cover up what had happened. Taken together, these actions indicated involvement in events that had already turned tragic. Amari's brother and sister were removed from the home by Child Protective Services as an emergency measure to ensure their safety once the details of the case came to light. At the same time, members of law enforcement began collecting donations to support the children during this difficult period, and within 1 week, more than $3,500 had been raised, a sum that became a symbol of solidarity and a willingness to help in any way possible. During the first court appearance, both Brittany and Celeste were told there would be no bond, meaning they would remain in custody while the case moved forward. The atmosphere in the courtroom was tense, every movement and every word drew attention. Against that backdrop, Celeste's behavior stood out even more. She appeared completely unconcerned with what was happening around her, and according to those present, at one point she was even laughing while signing documents, a reaction that sharply contrasted with the seriousness of the situation and what was being discussed in court, only deepening the overall sense of unease and disbelief about what had unfolded.
There is no bond today. Any other questions?
Brittany Hall faced a judge for the first time in a Gwinnett County courtroom Wednesday. Gwinnett police say the woman told them where they could find the body of her 8-year-old daughter after her arrest Monday night.
There is no bond on the felonies have been denied, says you're a danger to the person. Only a Superior Court judge sitting in your case can grant a bond. Do you understand that? Do you know what that means for you? It means you're going to be here for a while, okay?
Hall's partner, 29-year-old Celeste Owens, also appeared in court. She's charged with felony murder, making false statements, cruelty to children, and concealing a death. Both women asked for an attorney, a judge assigning each of them a public defender. The judge said a date has not yet been set for next appearances. Until then, both women will remain locked up.
However, when detectives took a closer look at the additional evidence, including the videos found on Celeste's phone statements from the other children and the medical examiner's findings, the overall picture became even clearer, and at the same time, far more disturbing. Each new piece didn't contradict what they already had, it only reinforced it, forming a logical and consistent chain of events. In the end, prosecutors concluded that Brittany not only knew about the abuse, but effectively allowed it and took part in it, which ultimately led to Amari's death. That conclusion became the turning point in changing her legal status. Because of that, the charges against Brittany were upgraded the most. Serious charge murder was added to the list, and she was later formally charged with felony murder, multiple counts of child cruelty, concealing a death, and providing false statements taken together. These charges reflected not just isolated actions, but an entire pattern of behavior that investigators say went on over a period of time and ended with fatal consequences. In the state of Georgia, the term felony murder has a specific legal meaning. It means a person can be found guilty of murder even if they did not directly deliver the fatal blow, as long as the death occurred during the commission of another serious crime they were involved in, and that legal principle became central to the case. At the same time, it came out that the family had been on the radar of social services for several years. However, none of the previous investigations were completed in a way that led to decisive intervention or produced results strong enough to act on. A representative from the Department of Human Services said that checks involving Nicole Amari Hall in 2015 and 2017 did not confirm any abuse, and a report received in 2021 also, according to them, showed no signs of abuse or neglect. Based on that information, the agency did not have formal grounds to believe the children were in immediate danger, a decision that later took on a very different meaning in light of everything that came to be revealed. We are working closely with law enforcement to assist in the investigation and to ensure the safety of other children, a spokesperson said, emphasizing that after the full scope of the case came to light, all resources were focused on preventing anything like this from happening again.
Opening statements are currently underway for Celeste Owens, one of the two women accused of killing an 8-year-old and trying to cover up her death. Well, Owens and the child's mother, Brittany Hall, they were indicted back in 2022 for the death of Amari Hall. Hall's trial will happen at a later date.
3 years after Amari's murder, Celeste Owens, who never admitted guilt, finally went on trial. Over that time, the case had not faded. If anything, every detail had become more deeply ingrained in the memory of those connected to it, and once the proceedings began, it was clear this would be a complex and intense courtroom battle where every word mattered. At this stage, she was facing a long list of serious charges, including intentional murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, multiple counts of child cruelty, as well as concealing a death and making false statements to police. Each charge on its own was extremely serious, but together they painted a broad and deeply troubling picture of what prosecutors say had been happening over a prolonged period. The cases against the two women were handled separately, after Brittany shifted all the blame onto Celeste, trying to distance herself from what happened and present herself in a different light. That move added even more tension, because essentially each side was now trying to convince the court of its own version of events. Celeste's defense attorney argued that she did not kill Amari and did not inflict the fatal injuries. His strategy focused on denying the core accusations and challenging how the evidence was being interpreted, aiming to create an alternative narrative, despite the extensive body of evidence already presented in court.
Holds people accountable for the roles that they play in each of the crimes. And she is responsible for the role that she played. They did this together. Their method was together. So it doesn't matter who delivered the fatal blow. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there was not one fatal blow. Every single blow was fatal to Amari. Every single one. You saw that. You heard Dr. Downey say that. So remember, because of the battered child syndrome that he explained, that we'll talk about again a little later, every single blow mattered. It doesn't matter. Just like it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger, it doesn't matter who delivered the fatal blow. It could be Brittany, it could be Celeste. It makes no difference. They are both guilty, and today is her day.
She also said they were forced to sleep directly on the cold floor, with no blankets, no warmth, no basic comfort. The nights dragged on long and exhausting, and that constant feeling of cold and vulnerability became something they got used to. They were made to face the wall for hours in silence, without moving, with no way to distract themselves or escape. The pressure toys were not allowed, as if any sign of childhood was seen as something inappropriate and unwanted. She talked about other horrific things too, details that were difficult even for the adults in the courtroom to hear, because they were so disturbing and painful. And yet, despite everything she had been through, she remained composed, her voice stayed, calm, her movements controlled, and her words clear. There was an incredible inner strength in that child that stood in sharp contrast to what she had endured. She did not seem broken. Instead, she appeared steady and brave, as if she had been forced to grow up far too early. She was a remarkably strong child, speaking about things no child should ever have to experience. Amari's grandmother, Barbara, whom Amari lovingly called Gigi, also testified in court. Her words were both sincere and deeply painful. She admitted she had no idea that physical abuse had been happening. Everything she learned came the same way everyone else did through the news, like an outsider rather than a close family member. And that realization was especially hard for her. There was a time when Amari and her siblings lived with Barbara during that period. They went to school, and life seemed more stable and predictable, according to her, the so-called behavioral issues Brittany had mentioned were simply not true. She stated that clearly, without hesitation, as if trying to restore the truth about her granddaughter. Amari was a kind, well-mannered, and intelligent child. She loved learning, enjoyed going to school. He was curious about the world, and easily connected with others. There was nothing aggressive or defiant about her. On the contrary, she was calm, attentive, and the kind of child people speak about with warmth and pride. At the end of 2020, the children returned to live with Brittany. Barbara did not agree with that decision and did not hide her concerns, but she had no power to change it. She had to say goodbye to them, a moment she likely never forgot after that. All contact with the children was cut off, as if an invisible wall had suddenly appeared between them. She tried over and over again to call Brittany, hoping just to hear the children's voices, to know they were okay, but those attempts went unanswered. Her calls were ignored, her messages led nowhere, and over time the uncertainty only grew worse. She didn't even know where they were living or what was happening to them, left in a constant state of worry with no information at all.
Release you for the day. With the reminded proviso, I know you guys want me to keep telling you this, but it's very important that you not discuss this case, not research anything about this case, not watch any news or read any articles, and don't let anyone discuss it with you. Does everybody understand that? All right, very good.
After a long and emotionally draining trial filled with painful testimony, complex evidence, and tense moments, the jury finally reached a verdict. It was the result of everything they had heard and seen, every fact, every detail, every word. Spoken in that courtroom, in the moments leading up to it, the tension was almost palpable. The jurors had to weigh everything from witness statements to physical evidence, from expert findings to conflicting accounts. It was a responsibility. That required not just attention to detail, but a deep understanding of the consequences of their decision. When the verdict was read, it came out clear and final, with no way to turn back. And in that decision was the full weight of the case. And the long path it took to reach that point, it marked the end of the legal process. But the emotional impact of everything that had been revealed stayed with everyone connected to the case.
A woman will spend the rest of her life behind bars after a Gwinnett County jury found her guilty in the beating death of an 8-year-old girl.
In December 2024, Celeste Owens was found guilty on all counts, bringing a long and exhausting trial to its conclusion, a process that had examined extensive evidence, testimony, and details that gradually came together into one deeply disturbing picture of what had happened for those in the courtroom. It was a moment filled with tension that seemed to stretch on forever, and when the verdict was finally read, it didn't come as a shock. It felt like the inevitable outcome of everything that had been presented. Each charge, confirmed by the court, reflected a different part of the case, and together they formed a complete account of what took place. This wasn't just a legal declaration of guilt. It was an official acknowledgement of the scale of the tragedy that had unfolded behind closed doors. In that moment, the courtroom fell silent, heavy with the weight of what had just been said. The verdict was clear and final, leaving behind a sense of closure to the process, but not to the pain this case left behind.
The court does hereby sentence you as follows. Account 1, malice murder. You are hereby sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Count 7 merges with count 3. Count 6 merges into count 3. And count 5 merges to count 2. On the remaining counts, counts 8 through 18, and counts 19 and 21, the court does hereby sentence you to consecutive 235 years. So life without parole plus 235 years.
So, in the end, the sentence was uncompromising. Life in prison plus another 235 years, a number that almost sounds unreal, but at the same time clearly reflects the scale of what was done and the level of responsibility the court found necessary. This decision left no room for doubt. The consequences of these actions were so severe that the punishment had to be as strict and final as possible. Judge Angela Duncan, who had presided over the case from beginning to end, addressed the courtroom at sentencing. The room was filled with a heavy silence, the kind where every word lands with weight. Her voice was controlled, but you could feel the gravity of everything she had heard and seen throughout the trial. She spoke not only as a judge, but as someone who had been forced to confront the details of this case. A story that leaves a lasting mark. Every sentence was measured without unnecessary emotion, yet carried a clear awareness of the scale of the tragedy behind the legal language. It was a moment when the legal process became something more. A final point in a story where justice, as much as possible, had been served, and at the same time a reminder that no verdict can ever bring back what was lost or erase the pain left behind by what happened.
You will never see the light of day to perpetrate this type of behavior, cruelty, and evilness upon another person.
31-year-old Brittany initially denied any guilt, rejecting involvement and trying to avoid responsibility. But in September 2025, the situation changed. She entered a plea agreement and agreed to admit guilt, marking a major turning point in a case that had already drawn attention for its brutality and the details that shocked even experienced investigators. She pleaded guilty to felony murder along with 11 counts of child cruelty, and in addition, she faced charges for concealing a death and providing false statements, which only reinforced the broader picture of ongoing abuse and attempts to cover it up. Taken together, these charges reflected not a single isolated incident, but a series of actions that ultimately led to a fatal outcome. In the end, the court sentenced her to life in prison, bringing the legal process to a close, where every detail, every testimony, and every piece of evidence had come together into one devastating and complete picture of what happened. Prosecutors did not hide their emotions when addressing the outcome. They said, "What we saw is something you can never forget. What we heard during this trial is something that can never be erased. This is the most horrific child-related case I have ever seen." Their words came out heavy and deliberate, as if each sentence carried its own weight, echoing through the courtroom. It was clear that even for people who deal with violence every day, this case stood apart because of how deeply disturbing it was. They added, "This mother failed to protect her children and instead became part of the abuse, and it ended in tragedy. We continue to pray that her children can recover from what they went through, and that this verdict can bring at least some sense of relief to them and their family." In those words, there was not just a professional assessment, but a deeply human reaction, an attempt to find even a small measure of justice. In a situation where it can never be fully restored, Amari's brother and sister are no longer in the care of social services, and according to available information, They are now living with Barbara in what is believed to be a safer and more stable environment. It marks a new chapter in their lives. After everything they endured, they survived. But the scars from that night, not only physical but deeply psychological, will stay with them forever. A reminder of something that can never be erased or forgotten, Amari's grandmother said.
I will never get to see her play sports. I will never teach her how to drive. I won't even see her go to prom. I won't get to do the things grandmothers are supposed to do with their granddaughters. My heart is shattered into a million pieces, and I haven't been able to put them back together.
This case is a painful and tragic reminder of just how vulnerable children can be, of the devastating and irreversible consequences of abuse, and of how fragile childhood innocence really is, something that can be taken away in a single moment. It is a story that makes you stop and think, leaving behind a heavy sense of unease and injustice that lingers long after Amari's life was only just beginning. She had a future ahead of her, full of possibilities, dreams, and simple childhood joys, but that life was taken from her by the very people she should have been able to trust the most, the ones who were supposed to protect her, support her, and be her safe place. And that realization makes this story even more painful. Every child deserves safety, care, genuine love, and the chance to grow up in a world where they are protected, not harmed. Childhood should be a time of trust, warmth, and security, not fear or pain. Amari deserved a far better life than the one she was given. She deserved the chance to grow up, to have happy memories, and a future that could have been bright and full of hope. And she deserved a completely different ending, not one that was cut short so suddenly, and so tragically leaving behind nothing but pain, unanswered questions, and a deep silence